Welcome to another episode of Lifestyle After Five. If you've been following us and our Unveiling Your Future series with Richard Rukowski, we're back for another episode. Of course, we're your hosts, me and Lord Shu, and we want to
What's
welcome
good?
back Richard Brinkowski as we discuss digital culture and its impact on modern society.
What's up?
Welcome back, Richard.
We're all here.
So good to see y'all back again for another one. Y'all ready to do
There's
this?
so much to unpack. In our last episode, as we discussed, what is futurism and futurism 101, as you referred to it, Rich. So I am definitely excited and can't wait to hear about the digital culture and its impact on modern society, and just breaking down what is digital culture.
Yeah. Are you sure you're ready?
Right.
Are you ready for this?
Y'all got y'all notepads out?
I don't know if they're really ready.
I don't know. This won't be particularly new, but it's going to be in a much better and a much more positive direction. But
Yeah.
you know, but
I think you're blowing their minds. I mean, I think the average person, but you giving them that one-on-one, they sitting around like this, trying to figure out if they're looking like, look, what's going on here? This is too much. I've never heard these concepts before.
But luckily, Rich is here and he's making it real for me, and I now know what it means, and I know it'll be able to change my life in a more positive direction. That's what's going on in the back of their mind.
Exactly.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do.
You giving them
today.
hope.
And it works all better if we're all using the same map, the same roadmap.
It does.
Because we're all
True
starting in
collaborative
Chicago.
effort.
Yeah. And we want to get to Texas and we want to get to Dallas, and we're all using different maps. We ain't getting, no one's going to be meeting up and down.
Nope.
A lot of confusion. I think that's kind of where we're going here. There is no plan. People are not even talking about the future or even see themselves in the future. And I mean, right now we have, like, as we get into these digital tools, the technology is moving faster than they can even make laws for some of this stuff.
Right. That is
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, that's when we start kind of, bumping, or they need to change some old laws to freshen it up a little bit to the more, more current technology, aspects. And what you're doing. That's actually a really great point for the subject today.
So
For sure.
that brings up a question that I have. Are the laws in some cases helpful, or do they diminish the ability of our digital tools and technology?
The only way I see, well, the laws today are, kind of more protective. So, and it's usually, a little too late. Again, that's where we all, we learn and kind of change, and then, kind of go from there. The what I find where things get, I say disconnected or something like that when it comes to the group, and there are a lot of conversations about this right now when it comes to artificial intelligence, right? Because there are closed networks, companies who are kind of doing it by themselves, using their own formulas, their own learning, their own teaching, and then put out a product for everyone to use, right? And then you have open ones. Now, open AI and open, you call open sandboxes. That means anybody can kind of come in, work on it, use it, add their little part to it. Hopefully it's nothing that's kind of get in the way.
Right.
And, there is a good chance that will most like that open one may have, again, just because it has more information, it has a different, kind of opinion, may be better than the closed environments that we're used to, or that we're kind of been working with right now. And if you're looking for an example, I mean, I have to.
I was going to give an example of, like, with Facebook, like some of the social media that we use. When it first came out, it was basically your free speech, and you could pretty much talk and discuss and bounce any type of ideal in the world that you wanted to discuss internationally. Now laws have caught up with it, and so now it has diminished. And some things for the good and some things for the bad. There are certain things now that you can't talk about. It's censored, and so it's not as open as it was when it first hit the market.
and we're going to wrestle and struggle with that, as technology continues, to evolve, as these platforms continue to evolve. You can't make, I guess, you can't make everybody happy in kind of some forms, and then, for digital culture, it is something that I do address, and we're going to be addressing today. So then it was a great lead-in segment, for the digital culture segment. So I guess kind of staying where we are there, the kind of like, and where there will be some time today that I'm going to get, I guess, negative, or would I like to use the term shadow in all this?
Yeah.
Because you have to bring it up, again, and that is another way of kind of looking and thinking about how you're using things, or how you can be using things, but just not making it a way of life. It just
negative is necessary at some points. At some points,
Right.
I always like to tell people, you can't run a car off just straight positive energy.
Yeah.
You got to have negative to make a battery power. So negative
Right.
has
I
its place.
I got it now. Okay. Kind of missed that part.
Hey, you got to have negative in some places. I mean, there is a time and place for negative.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's part of the safe space that we are building here, so people can express that and see it in a safe environment without it being hurtful or without doing something like that. But it's kind of, again, it's good for it to to get out. There is energy in that, but again, what you do with it is something different. Right? So I guess a good way to start was, as you mentioned, is like this kind of digital citizenship and kind of online activism. Excuse me. Again, I'm going to be focusing strictly on the positive stuff, because that's what Futurism is. That's what I am, and that's why, again, we have to start changing, points of view in that way, right? So what a lot of what with the digital culture aspects of that, powered by digital, right? Like, we started to see a lot of the kind of social media movements for the raising awareness about a lot of social issues, right? So I know you mentioned before about sharing ideas and and things like that in early social media, right? But there is a very positive aspect to that, right? So we have started to see, raising awareness in places that we weren't allowed to talk to, allowed to go, and a lot of it has, like an example would be the Me Too and the Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
Kind of where, think about where those movements would be without some type of, again, the digital background on it. It's the distribution of it, and the more, the personalization, on that. Another direction where that goes is all those online petitions and crowdfunding. Changed so much on the way that we're able to gather, share our vote in a petition or ideas, and but crowdfunding, that's much more kind of outside the trend now, has done exponential amount of things, in digital culture, that we have seen here. From obviously from product development to just kind of helping your fellow man to get exponential, but I can't come up with more than two. But I think that have you guys participated in any kind of crowdfunding in the past, or?
Yes, I have, for my own business.
Your own business. Yeah. Was it just? I'm kind of curious. Was it successful?
Yeah, I would say so.
Got it. And I guess in that whole online activism and stuff is like the digital literacy programs, kind of teaching in general, but also kind of teaching responsibility and teaching ethics, kind of an online behavior will also be a big driver, from the, technologies and such that, that are kind of going on, driving the digital citizenship and, online activation. And again, a negative example of that would be like cyberbullying, right? And online harassment, the spreading of misinformation and conspiracy theories. You guys know what an echo chamber is? I mean, in the use of this, like echo chambers used to reinforce, extreme viewpoints.
Okay,
Could
yeah,
you explain
yeah,
that? Could you explain that
yeah,
a little?
but yeah, explain it to people watching, please.
All right, so an echo chamber is kind of like a situation or an environment, usually within digital and social or whatever like that, where people get exposed to some opinions and beliefs that align with their own, and it just kind of they'll say something and it kind of continues kind of on and on and on, right? So
Yeah.
some of these echo chambers are again very limited to their viewpoints, right? Because they're kind of staying within what this group or that kind of only wants to talk about, only see the information, the kind of limited existing beliefs of those things, right? But and in those kind of it then starts to amplify, it gets louder, right? Because you got like-minded people repeating the same crap over and over again, the bad views, and it also makes people think that it's actually like prevalent, that it's real, that it's correct, because there's so much of that kind of going on, right? Echo chambers also like filter out the opposing view. There's no additional opinions and are even brought up, less discussed. They're kind of like taken out. Another part of echo chamber is it feeds the algorithms in social media,
Right.
right?
I can see
So a lot of people are kind of talking about it, right? It gets reinforced.
Mhm.
The algorithm thinks that that's what people want to hear, and it starts kind of moving that and kind of starts engaging people that would never even been kind of connected to that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. And I know the shitty part, again, it kind of increases the polarization, and it decreases the critical thinking, which is that clearly so important right now, right? So
Yeah.
limited exposure, limited ideas, limited people, you're just going to get limited information and kind of actions on that.
Go for a walk.
Sorry,
Or call a friend.
it's my digital assistant.
What a perfect time for it
Yeah.
to pop up.
Real
Because that
talk.
brings up like you got digital assistants. There's even digital art and gaming. Well, of course, all gaming now. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like digital art now.
So much of that, yeah, and and again, the ethics on that, the legal aspects of that,
It's
the
ugly.
whole thing.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah,
ugly.
I don't even think the laws haven't caught up to a lot of that stuff and the proprietary information, and then there's AI that's still new, the wild wild west.
Even crypto, they still trying to
Crypto,
figure out what to do with
blockchain,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know what to
but
do
you're
with
right.
my hands.
Well, at least for crypto, the terminology I hear a lot is that it's winterized, right? That, and just again, no one really knows what to do with it anymore. It kind of had a direction, clearly powerful, clearly useful, right? But just kind of filling it up with winter fluids, and let's kind of see how everything else kind of shakes out before we get to
Right.
kind of use those again. But it ultimately everything will be kind of heading in that direction, and in some form. We have to just kind of figure out what's going to be real powering it this time.
Well, we're definitely going to be replacing change. We're slowly phasing money out, and cash is definitely being phased out of society. I once was talking to a group, and I mentioned it on some of the previous podcasts, where we were
Yeah.
talking about Gen Z, and everybody was condemning Gen Z and speak negatively on Gen Z because they can't count change. And I asked people, well, who has change in their pocket right now?
Exactly.
They're not going to have to know in their world. They're not going to have to know how to write checks or writing cursive or whatever, cursive and count change back to you, because it's going to go away in their lifetime altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, paying with your phone, paying
Yeah, I
with
mean, we're already
like,
doing it.
digital credits. Yeah, there's kind of a lot of that. I have I'm much more positive on Gen Z, than that. And there's two other things about Gen Z that's kind of interesting. I don't know. One is that, and it's actually happening in a lot of schools right now. They're moving all of the like 2-armed clocks, the circular
Yeah.
clocks, to digital clocks, because a lot of Gen Zs and such don't know how to read. Don't know how to
Yeah.
read it. You can't tell time on that kind of clock. So again, interesting, but again, I can't blame them. Everything else that we're shoving them isn't in that form, right? So talk about echo chambers. And then
I think they need to learn how to read clocks, though. You're gonna need the old trusty wind up if power goes out or whatever, and you can't charge your cell phone up. But then again, I guess in the new world, if power goes out, the whole world shuts down.
Or
That's something to think about.
yeah,
I mean, just think about it. You got digital money. Your cars are going to be electric. So if power shuts down, everything in the world shuts down.
yes. I mean, they're obviously working on it, right? So you have all those, like, and again, solar chargers, water chargers, all the things like that. So, but yeah, as the grid continues to be stressed and again fails in some other places, and we haven't brought war or any other kind of like terrorism or any other kind of very 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 kind of tricky. But but we're heading into a negative direction. Let's fix it.
Well, you did say you were gonna bring up the shadows, man. So
And the negative, but that also brings a different question. Why is the futurism only positive?
Well, mostly because negative breeds negative, right? Just and like in media, dystopia breeds dystopia, and everything that we're watching on TV and movies and all that, again, bad news, it all feeds on itself, and we think it's normal. We think it's an echo chamber, right?
Yeah.
When we're watching that, on the news, or we watching a show about the fall of the Constitution and all kind of different all different scenarios. So positive reinforcement it has the same effect. If everything that we thought about was positive and we watched all positive stuff and we were doing positive things, it would just continue to be positive, kind of going there. So it's more like Batman has a saying. He goes, there's enough like superheroes in the daytime, right? Batman is a nighttime superhero, right?
Never thought about it like that. He got the second shift, the night shift.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But I would rather it be like that. Feed
so there's enough
algorithm positivity, and it'll balance itself out.
Yeah, it'll learn. It'll recalibrate. Yeah, so there's enough bad stuff out there, but
I'd rather be
right. You want to be on the good side, and again, where all humans are inherently good, right? So it is it is the change of the mindset. It is the what needs to happen, and but there's enough of those kind of out there, right? And a good switch on that is another positive direction of digital culture is again that collaboration of online communities, right? So they got platforms like GitHub, for open source software. Are you familiar with that? Sure you are.
Yes.
Can you imagine like that? I mean, there's just people who can't wait to kind of go out there and fix problems, or add another kind of component to it, or something. You don't even have to ask them. So I can't imagine like where we would be without a GitHub, kind of already, kind of in place. And if we continue to, put positive stuff in there, we're going to continue to get, much more, human changing positive there.
That's funny. No one focuses on the positive of social media. All you hear is the bad of social media, but you don't hear how the Facebooks and the X's, people are building community in groups and discussing solving world problems and common issues. I know
taking the initiative on their own.
Even YouTube, information shows like this and others where people are getting information. I mean, I've had to my dryer went out years back, whatever. Saved me, I saved $400 by social media. Being able to look at a YouTube, find a video, and fix it. I mean, breaks, everything. And I've been able to tell when somebody's running a line on me when something's wrong, because now most appliances will give you a code whenever it breaks down. I'm able to go to Google and read the code and look at this code and see what this code means. So when a technician comes in and they're trying to tell me something, and that actually happened with my dryer, which like He tried to tell me something like, no, it's gave this code and this code means this. Well, how do you know what that code means, Google? But
Can't scam no more.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
really been a help.
yeah. These online forums, groups, mutual support, on that, and collective problem solving. These are all good words. That the good use for digital. These communities foster cooperation, knowledge exchanges, collective
Mm-hmm.
problems are the same, and sometimes all like within specific geographic boundaries. Like big things that are happening here normally don't happen there, and more of that continues to come in, and self-support and self-growth. What the trends now, for this is the digital wellness and mindfulness, and I know we're going to be addressing that, in a deeper level in the future, but it really is, always kind of coming out. There are, apps and online resources promoting, mental health now and well-being, right?
Yep.
We can, again, we can say it out loud. People can kind of talk about it, and, and there's, someone who understands you, and, whatever that. So we can kind of stay away, from the isolation. It's not particularly kind of getting out, but it's a lot better than just kind of sitting home on, all that.
Just
There's
suffering.
also, yeah, there's a lot of digital detoxing, initiatives being kind of going on right now to encourage like this balance. Kids, like there are like school systems that are no longer allowing kids bring their phones into this, into the buildings. And they're kind of finding, some some early research coming out of that is that the kids actually like it. Kind of,
Right.
Again, remember, again, there's only so much you can kind of do where your brain is paying attention to, and there's kind of moving, out of that. The social media companies and the phone companies themselves, you're allowed to monitor how long you're on something, right, on websites, or how long you're on your phone in general, and
Right.
all of that, right? So that's all kind of coming out of the positive aspects of that. And again, social media, there are parts now that are promoting, positive body, imaging, self-acceptance, kind of where would we be, without, again, a very wide range self-helping, self-loving type of technologies that are, that the digital culture allows.
Yeah. It's gonna ruffle some feathers, but I think in the overall, it's probably gonna do more good than damage.
Well, it
Yeah.
already have, because you got to look at, people forget about the digital age has brought remote work. That wouldn't be possible without digital technology in the new gig economy that some people don't even know exists. They think that people are lazy and don't want to work, and they don't realize that no, people want to work. People have, like Rich said in the last episode, you got to create your own job.
Exactly.
People have used the gig economy to create their own careers.
Yep.
And these technologies, newer ones, and will continue. I mean, just look at how much. I won't say Uber has changed, but I mean it is their technology. But look what adding that on top of everything, right? So, the ability to build trust, right, with the seller and the buyers, right? Again, we were always told, never get into cars with strangers, but now we can. We know their rating, right? And
Exactly.
not perfect or whatever, but but I can now work where I couldn't do it before. Right now, I have a car or whatever. I can get that. That's a lot of that new economy that's coming out of, like, let's just say parts of Industry 4.0, which we'll talk about at another time. But even that technology, the Uber-like technology has opened up, so much more to, again, food deliveries, and
the door dashes.
I mean, the ability for you to get medicine, all of that is all now, open, so a lot of great positive stuff coming out of that part.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to Flexi, the company that's redefined the gig economy too. They turning up,
absolutely
changing how we do everything now, and I think eventually the future will be like slapping us in the face, like, all right, if y'all don't start waking up to the new way of things, and
if y'all wondering what Flexi is, go and find our video on Go Flexi and how they're changing the world with their innovative startup company that they got going. And especially if you're a restaurant owner. So
yeah,
shout out to Flexi.
Shout out to Flexi for real.
Yeah, definitely the great use of the new digital culture.
All right, continuous learning. Thank you for adding
Exactly.
that to my schedule.
Oh yeah, you already know. I'll end up I'll send you that too in the email. That's what we do, man. This,
Yeah,
I don't know. Every time we do this, it gets more exciting because it just shows, like, even though we're talking about futurism, it's showing like now it's happening right now.
It
Y'all can
is.
get involved, support these different brands that's doing this.
Well, you use the term winterizing when it came to digital currency. So I think the same thing has happened with the metaverse. There was a big push and
Oh yeah,
trend with ETFs, and then there was the metaverse and VR technology and AR technology. So I think that has been shelved, and it's going to come back out. I'm pretty sure, because I know Mark Zuckerberg has spent most millions, if not billions, into it, and now Apple has jumped into the game. So definitely something to go forth as companies look into it and how to secure it and how they can use it for training. What trends do you see there?
for the winterized of like the metaverse and stuff.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you kind of hit most of it. It just people just don't know what to do with it anymore, right? And again, it's not the technologies all the time, right? I would say the economy can really drive, some of that,
Yeah.
and you still have, you have Bitcoin and, Ethereum that are really doing well. They're really kind of on the, so it's that, it's there's the engine, but making it, again, more efficient. I just feel no one has money anymore. So, what's the use of kind of playing around, with monopoly money if it's not, kind of nothing there, right? Again, I'm hoping, for more changes and stuff like that. Like, you hear it a lot. Like there's, nobody's having house parties anymore because no one has a house. So I feel like it's like the same thing when it comes to how the metaverse and crypto and all that. It just seems like, we don't know kind of what to do with it. No one kind of really has it, but once we start, adding more to it, a lot of the web, and this kind of falls under the direction of Web 3.0, right? It's kind of like where we are now with a lot of these technologies. And, when there's a lot of value in a lot of different everywhere that we just haven't seen unless technologies kind of open it up. Again, what you bring to the table, right? Like you're able to now, be a tutor, right? Or kind of something like that, moving it forward, getting paid, all that, all on those things. So that once, even like for some advertisers, like, like your attention, it's an attention driven economy, right? So the more you watch this, the more you go here, the more that, there's, they'll compensate you for your attention, right? So I think once a lot more of those attention type things kind of going on, like, pay to play technologies for video games. So when you play the video game, you'll get, a certain amount of credits or something like that. And then, so there's kind of stuff like that going on all over. But, one of my main, and I've been talking about this for some time, and I think I recently, someone else is quoting me in some magazine or something, but basically had to do with SpaceX's, Starlink, the ability to bring the internet everywhere on around the world, right? What's that mean? Like, how does that, not everyone's just gonna, it'd be kind of sad again if everyone's just kind of playing games or going on social media and stuff, but there's like all those technologies that we just talked about that just open up different ranges, right? A couple of weeks ago, SpaceX made a plan with Kazakhstan. You don't have to look that up, it's in Asia, where Starlink is now in every rural classroom. So it gave like 2,000 different villages high-speed broadband, access, satellite for cheap, right? So now just imagine the kids in remote areas, gaining like insight, on like the tons of wealth of human knowledge that it's out there that was never
Exactly.
there's that great equalizer that
Yep.
that we're looking for from this technology, right?
But you
But
mentioned,
connectivity, is not enough. It's in some of other research and work that I've done, you can have that smart. I think there's a lot of people have like a lot of schools in the United States that have that smart blackboard, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
connect the smart blackboard to the internet. When you're kind of out where again in rural areas, villages, huts, things like that kind of going on. It's good to have that, right? But that also can teach people how to teach, right? So like a
well,
very big problem with a lot of these areas, they don't have enough teachers, right? They don't have enough
Right.
people that can
well,
go there.
Rich, can you picture coupling that with the metaverse, where someone just put on these goggles and it's like you just walk through this endless mall where you got an account, and it's kind of like Amazon. You just go in a store and you just kind of click on whatever you want, and it shows up in to your house, or you go into this room and there's a course is being taught, and you just sit down from your house, and it's like you actually sitting in a virtual classroom where somebody's teaching anything you want to know. The international world store of anything in any country or any section, you can have a conversation with, or you can shop there. That
Yeah,
that would really make the world a smaller place.
right.
Oh yeah.
And how one of my main mantras is when I address technology and or its effect, my main word is like, so what, right? You have so
Mhm.
many people kind of again building, using these kind of technologies, to whatever, to make a logo come out on a can that you're looking at, or
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
something. So what? Right? That's that whole part about being positive. Take that energy and do something with it, right?
Right.
Yeah, now that you have, and I think I know we may have spoken about this before. I may have shown you an example about that whole social swipe, right? The
Yeah.
billboards, right,
Yeah.
that inspire change, and not only inspire it, but also give it the funding and resources, right? So it's an interactive billboard, and the creative and stuff in there are are showing the what it's going to do, or where this money's going. So
Yeah.
if it'll be a big picture of a loaf of bread, right? And you take your credit card on the screen,
Yeah.
right? You kind of do your donation, and the picture opens up, and now it's a cut piece of bread, and now that is going food, kind of going to someplace else, right?
Yeah.
I have this vision. This is one of my forecasts for the future, is about just in places, I don't know where, it could be just in the street, or whatever like that, where you just have virtual vending machines, right? That supply resources around the world, right? So the money is the currency and the ideas, and either through a QR code or through a swipe, changing the world, in those levels. But then you have it kind of in front of you, and you see it, and then if you like, in futurism, you try to connect the dots, right? So say you have a rural town who's now connected, and they know what they need, right? They need a water pump. They know they need, a school. They know they need this, whatever. So wouldn't it be great if we can kind of help a rural town redesign their, town, or something like that. Like where, even how to start, how to do it, where should our farm be? Where could we put renewable power that it wasn't there, but that we don't have before? Swipe, the word kind of gets around, and you've done a lot, right? So each person is changing like the shape, having their vision, come through, all being uploaded by some kind of Uber-like technology, where the village leaders and others kind of go over, have access to, wider planning, people, technologies, graphs and all that. And then a person's like individual dream can come true of kind of, of changing their village, changing their town, changing where they want to go in there. So that's another positive model that I'm trying to push for, right? I can, get rid of misery. Let's get rid of all that stuff, and what comes out of that, like where is, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff coming out of that we'll be able to use, or
exactly.
Going in our town, or help the next town over, right? And this isn't tomorrow, this isn't 5 years, 10 years. We can kind of start doing this stuff now, right?
Yeah.
Somebody to lead, somebody to kind of help remind everybody there's a democratization of and how we're using innovative tools, and that's why we have to use our again imagination or gaming. I could really, it would be great to see that as a game. Like everybody kind of goes in, logs in, everybody, kind of does what they need to do. But, and there it is. You're there. You can see them. You can talk to them. They can say thank you. They can kind of, do any number of things.
Right.
That's the so what. So, like watch that technology that you're building, because don't make me coming around and say so what, because that's not good.
Exactly.
Our time is getting short, but as you've noticed, the digital culture is here to stay. And for you all that's watching us, again, if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. It helps us with our digital culture to pump this out. Also want to hear your comments. How has this digital culture affected your life or improved your life, or give us some negative comments. Maybe we can help that if it decimated your life. Either way, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think as we bring Rich back for more in this series. And I can't wait to next episode where we go into Industry 4.0. If you don't know what that means,
stay tuned.
Check out the next episode. Stay tuned and check out the next episode.
Yeah, you take off.
Yeah, we're going to be turned up in this next one.
Rich, as always, it was a pleasure. A lot of knowledge and information. Hope you had your pen and papers out.
My honor. I'm very happy that we can make a positive echo chamber around, and need a lot more of that.
Likewise, man.
This is what Lifestyle After 5 is all about, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Lifestyle After 5. Y'all be safe out there. Stay positive. Peace.
See you in the future.
Peace out, y'all.